those of you that followed the construction of my diorama will be aware of the whole layout as it was, and now it's more or less finished. You never finish a model railway, but it's about as close as we can get to being the finished item now. So I've got an idea, and I want to make it come to fruition. It's always that going the extra step, isn't it? So I'm going to share with you what my views were on this and how I came to rectify it and how I came to progress on it. Now it's quite an exciting day for me because I've more or less finished the diorama as it was supposed to be, but I've taken things a little bit one stage further. So I just want to show you what I've done. This was never ever planned to be part of this, but you know what they say about a model railway, it's never ever finished. So here we go. That's going one way. Now we put it in reverse and off we go again, he says with trepidation. There we go, backing into the station there. So that is quite an achievement for me anyway. I'm going to show you how I did it very shortly. Now I do have a problem with the points, because as you can see what happens here when I move it forward, it takes the curve, but it gets to that track and it stops. So I'm just going to let it come back again under its own steam, if you like. And there we have it. So I'm going to tell you also how I solve, or how I'm hoping to solve that problem as well. The power controller is very simple to make. You don't need even to use a soldering iron, and it's very cheap as well by comparison. If you get it on the internet, it's works out very cheap. What you'll need is the main controller, which is this thing here. This part here is called a PWM. Now what PWM means is pulse width modulator, and it's a variable speed thing. It has a controller on here which gives you, you see this here, this is give you the speed of the train that we're running at. You'll also need one of these, an AC DC adapter. Now the AC DC adapter simply plugs in to the end of this, and this is just a very simple power controller that you use to do your computer and all sorts of things. So that's an AC adapter, and this here we just simply plug the end of that into there, so it takes it from AC to DC, and the DC current then is controlled by this modulator here. Now it's a good idea to buy one of these as well. It's a reversing switch, so that's on, that's in neutral, it won't go anywhere, and that's also on, but that's going in the reverse direction, so it switches the train. So you want it to go forwards, you use one, and if you want it to go backwards, you use the other. It doesn't matter which way you go in, because so long as you got the positives and the negatives all lined up, it's very simple to do. Like I said, there's no soldering needed whatsoever. So that is my controller. There are lots of tutorials on the internet, so I'm not going to go over how we build it. It's very simple, but if you have any comments or you want to ask any questions, just leave a message below and I will answer your questions. This is the connection end for the controller. Now unfortunately for you, I've covered it all over with ground cover, So basically all it is 2 wires, and if you can imagine, if I was doing it here, I'd solder one to the inside of this rail here and the other to the inside of this rail. So you can do that anywhere along there. I just happened to do it at the end, and then I managed to get this buffer so I could cover up all the wiring. So this is all you see now. Okay, so that gives power to this track here, all the way down to the station end here. And then when we switch the points, a little manual switch here I've got. So if I switch the points over and the train is coming this way, it runs okay up until it gets to this part here, because this here is not connected. Therefore, what I need to do, and I'll show you this, how I do it, I'm going to take 2 pieces of wire and I'm going to connect one to this rail, and then I'm going to connect the other end of it to this rail so that it's parallel, right? So this one goes with this one, and then I'm going to take another wire which will go from this outer rail here to this outer rail here. And like I say, I don't think it matters where you do it. What I've got to do is simply drill a couple of holes down somewhere here, push the wire through and solder them to the insides of the track. And I'll be doing the same here. Drill a hole, drill another hole, push the wire through and solder it onto the inside of the line. And I'll probably show you how I did that. So that's where we're at now.